hire a private investigator
Hey, DB.
to help you with this whole problem you were having?
With the extortion?
Yes.
No, I didn't tell anybody.
Did you get a bodyguard?
No, I carried a gun on me, and I always sleep with a gun next to me in bed, and I carried a gun on my person and had a gun in my car at all times.
Do you recall a statement you made on the Dolce Vita recording that said you were going to start carrying a gun?
Yeah, because for a long time, like after this happened, I was carrying a gun, and it's uncomfortable.
Hey,
And I don't
critters.
always like carrying a gun, so I hadn't carried a gun in a while, and I was going to start carrying one again.
But you did say in 2016, I'm going to start carrying one.
Yeah, I carried probably for about
Because you did
4 or
the
6
bump,
months after this happened,
Georgia.
and I wear scrubs, so the gun that I had can kind of stick out, and it's uncomfortable. I prefer not to carry a gun.
So you quit carrying it, but during the time you were still paying the extortion money.
Yes.
All right. And the extortion money that you were paying, $3,000 a month, that wasn't going towards the principal of whatever was left on the 333,000, right? Didn't you testify to that?
Correct.
All right. So you never came up with the remaining bulk of the money that you owed.
Never.
And nobody ever came after you for that?
No, they said you could pay it all off and it'll be done, or just pay $3,000 a month. So I thought about paying the full amount.
And then when did they go to prison? When did Lewis end up in prison and Sigfrido?
And Magdalena broke up, according to your direct. Do I have that right?
That's not correct.
When did you break up?
Within a week, I met her. We went out to dinner. We went out to eat, and I just said, "This has got to end."
All right, so you broke up with her.
Yes.
Weren't you scared that if you broke up with her, that she would sick the Latin Kings on you?
No.
What do you want, Georgia? You either want him to stay with her so you can question his innocence that way, but when he breaks up with her, now you're going to question him again.
Every month and pick up the money and protect me, and she understood. I mean, our relationship was on the rocks.
But you've testified that all the gifts and stuff that you gave her were to keep her happy, right?
Yeah, so she didn't get angry.
Yeah, when I realized that she's the one who's protecting me and she wasn't a part of this extortion, I had no problem keeping her happy, and I looked for things to do, nice things to do for her because she was broke.
But not worried about pissing her off by breaking up with her.
Jesus Christ, Georgia.
Our relationship was definitely on the rocks. After
and she was back with Sigfrido.
Cut me off and threatened me and called my dad, and then she knew I didn't even invite her to my dad's birthday party, which was a family gathering with family friends on July 5th. She knew we were going to be done.
After you broke up with Catherine Magdalena a week after the murder, did you continue to talk to her?
We still communicated for sure.
Talk on the phone?
And texted, yeah.
And meet up?
No, the only time I'd see her was I saw her again the end of August. She came and picked up the money, and that's when she asked me if I could put her on the books because none of this money was going to her, and she needed to get health insurance for her kids. So I said, yeah, I'll do it and help you out.
And did you continue to hook up with her after the breakup? And by that, I mean, have sex with her.
There was one occasion. There was one time that we hooked up.
Okay, when was that?
I want to say it was probably about 5 months after we'd broken up.
Okay, well, there was one other occasion before that in October of 2014. Do you recall that? October 9th of 2014?
That's probably the occasion I'm talking about. It's July. Let me count the months. July, August, September, October. So, okay, so 4 months.
Okay, and there's another one on October 15th. You remember that one?
No, I think we did hook up about one time.
Okay, well, one time on October 9th and one time on October 15th.
I thought it was one time. If it was 2 times, it's been.
Could it have been 2 times?
But no more.
Okay. And on August 25th, 14, that would have been after the breakup, right?
Yeah.
You text her And then she replies, I don't need help. I'm good. Don't need favors, nor will I trust anyone again. Erase my number, please. Go on with your life like you did already and have been doing. Sorry we spoke today. I don't want to stress your life more. Don't do anything for me. Do you remember receiving that text from Catherine Magbanua?
Yeah, sounds familiar.
And that's a pretty weird text to get from the extortionist. You're meeting her to give her money. Why is she?
She's getting her $3,000 a month, Georgia. Georgia, this is so disingenuous. It's so disturbing.
In 2014, I didn't think she was the extortionist.
Right, but it's been revealed that she was.
In 2019. So you're taking what was known in 2019 and you're trying to say I knew what I knew in 19.
I'm not trying to say you knew. I'm trying to say she knew. She knew she was the extortionist. Why is she telling you to erase her number and leave her alone?
Because I broke up with her.
Exactly. On 9/14 of or 9/11 of 14, she sends you #bestie for life. Do you remember that?
It sounds familiar.
So did you all have some kind of reconciliation after the breakup?
No, I was probably doing a favor and making her happy with something.
On 10/6 of 2014, I love you. It makes me feel good that you care about me. I'm lucky to have you as part of my life. Do you remember sending that to her?
Yeah.
On 10/9 of 14, I mentioned the sex talk. I won't go into the details of it. Again, 10/15, more sex talk. 10/23 of 14, thank you again for everything you're doing for my mommy. She sends you that. What were you doing for her mother?
I don't know. I think I did a consult for her, but I didn't do anything for her mom.
2/24 of 15, you agree that she always knows how to make you smile, and you say, I love you to her. Remember that?
Yeah, I cared a lot about Katie, and I didn't think that she was a part of this. So I was always trying to keep her happy and make her happy. And I felt like she got dragged into something that she shouldn't have been dragged into.
Okay, maybe, but she dragged you into it as well.
I didn't see it like that at all. And our relationship actually got stronger. You know, initially when I got extorted, I had limited contact with her and I was cold to her. And then over time, I realized that she's the one who's protecting me and she's not involved with these people because the extortion never went up and Katie was always broke.
She was involved with them because she had a child with the guy, right?
I didn't know for sure it was him,
but you suspected always that it was him.
I always suspected that.
Don't let her rope you into an argument. Stick to the facts.
I mean, were you ever really that serious about her to begin with?
I mean, we spent 7-8 months together.
But you were never considering marrying her.
No, I wasn't considering.
I mean, you were a playboy, right? You had a zillion girlfriends.
That is actually not even true.
Okay. Did you have a lot of girlfriends?
I had 2 girlfriends in the.
What does that matter about murder?
I've dated Whitney Kick for 9 months.
Okay, but how many women were you talking to and engaging with?
Why does it matter? Were you one of them?
There could have been 1 or 2.
Or more?
No.
Okay.
Good God.
Point being,
this is crazy.
You're not going to marry Catherine Magbanua.
I wasn't having marriage plans, no.
Okay. And you have now broken up with her after this incident.
Yes.
She's the person that's taking the money from you physically.
She's the one. I looked at it as she's the one who's protecting me. If she wasn't, I was going to get a visit from somebody. Is she the
one that was physically taking the money?
Yes.
Is she the one that was connected to the person you suspected to have killed your brother-in-law?
I thought she was tied to that person, yes.
And she's the one that got you into this, right? Because she ran her mouth. Right?
And I looked at that I ran my mouth too. And if I never said anything to her, this would never have happened. So I felt responsible for saying something to her in the first place.
But you didn't feel responsible enough to try to do anything about her sitting in jail, an innocent woman, for 3 years. Did you?
She never contacted me.
You didn't offer to testify in her trial. You let her get convicted and get life in prison, didn't you?
I thought the truth was going to come out.
By
but not through you.
2019, didn't he already say
I
he
was
knew
never
she was
contacted.
involved?
I thought it was going to come out through her.
Was there any contact between your lawyers and her lawyers?
You'd have to ask them.
You said you didn't have any contact with her.
Did
you have any
zero contact with her.
So your lawyers didn't tell you anything on behalf of her lawyers?
Absolutely not.
And her lawyers didn't hear anything from your lawyers?
I don't know what lawyers talk about, but I can tell you that I never talked to Katie, and I never told my lawyers.
You never relayed a message through your lawyers that the Adelson family would not be talking in this case?
Absolutely not.
And she had nothing to worry about as far as that end was concerned?
That's not true at all.
Be careful, Zelda.
Did you or your agent contact her brother to offer to assist with her attorney's fees in her case?
That's a complete lie.
On 10/27 of 15, you say you can't wait to get lunch with her. She's the best, and you are lucky to have her as a friend for life. Did you say that?
Yes.
10/27/15, you can't wait to get lunch with her. 10/30/15, you tell her you miss her. 12/9 of 15, again, you tell her she's the best.
Yeah, I said all those things.
Do you agree that this picture does not look like a relationship between an extortionist and her victim?
Jesus. Oh my God,
Katie was
Georgia.
with the extortionist.
Stop.
She was the extortionist.
In 2014 and
No.
2015.
He didn't believe she was the extortionist, Georgia.
We're looking back now. Okay.
You know, it's like if you're going to quote me, date me. Like
Right.
what I knew in 2014 and what I knew in 2015 is not what I know now in 2000.
100% agree. She's doing it on purpose.
You didn't know then, and that's why you were nice to her.
Yeah, I thought she was protecting me.
Got it. And none of those factors that I pointed out weighed into that consideration. That she ran her mouth, that she brought the Latin Kings on you. She was taking.
How many times is he going to tell you the same thing, Georgia? He's not falling for your tricks.
You were still going to be friends with her and keep her happy.
You're wrong. I didn't know about the Latin Kings in 2014 or 2015.
All right. The love text, which is what I'm referring to all these texts where you're still nice to this person after you break up with her. You're still doing favors.
Maybe he's a nice person, Georgia.
Defense, isn't it?
No, our relationship got stronger. I agree. Our relationship got stronger, but it was much different.
Isn't that why she has to be an innocent conduit between you and the bad guys? Because if those texts didn't exist, she would be the extortionist and the bad actor in this whole thing, right?
I'm not following your theory.
You have to explain away those texts, don't you, Doctor?
No, he's
No, I
not
just sit here and
explaining
tell
them
you the
away.
And now you're finding it out.
I'm very frustrated with
Most
this.
people don't
It is
send
very
creepy
frightening.
faxes to people that are extorting money out of them. I mean, she was taking your money.
Again, Ms. Kappelman, she was not extorting me at the time.
That's not how it's done, is it?
I'm telling you
Oh,
how it
you,
was done.
what an
So then
asshole.
over these next 2 years, you would meet her monthly and hand over a bundle of checks and $3,000 in cash, right?
No, you're wrong.
Okay, tell me.
I would hand
No,
over
I'm wrong.
$2,000 in cash and a bundle of checks.
$2,000 in cash and a bundle of checks. And so over the course of 2 years, I'm terrible at math, but that's roughly how much money? Because I think I did $3,000. It's $48,000 in cash, in addition to the $138 you provided the night of. Do you agree with that?
If your math is correct, I'm just telling you what I paid her each month.
And the checks, which is another $17,000, right?
You're doing the math.
Don't get mad.
Was it a lot of money to you?
It was a lot of money to me, yeah. I work hard.
Did the extortionists, whoever they were, ever try to increase the payments or come for more money?
The extortion never went up, and Katie was always broke. And that's what led me to think that she was not a part of this, because she could have easily jacked up the payments.
Well, she's sharing $3,000 a month with a bunch of other people, right? At least one other person.
I didn't think she was sharing it. Why is she coming to me for $300 for her kid's birthday?
Because she's broke.
Because she wasn't getting any of the
Because
money.
half of $3,000 doesn't do much when you're living in Miami with 2 kids to feed, right?
I didn't
And
think
not
she was
working.
sharing anything.
He thought that she
was
was taking
sharing.
that
That's
the
your point.
extortionate
Must not
was
have been
taking the
taking
whole
anything.
3,000. That's why
She
he
could've
was
been
given
taking the money
extra
and being
money.
broke.
That's not how
It's
I
not a
saw
lot
it.
of money.
That's not how I saw it.
Tell me about Dan Markel a little bit. What you sort of said, what I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, was he was, a nice enough guy, typical Wendy boyfriend, but not really your kind of guy.
Yeah, I think it's an accurate description.
Right. Do you agree that he was this brilliant legal mind?
I mean, I think he was a little on the nerdy, nice guy. Um, just kind of like the average guy that my sister dated.
Not the kind of guy you want to have a beer with, though.
We never had a beer together. I mean, not that I wouldn't have had a beer if he wanted to have one. We just didn't have that much in common, but he was always nice to me.
Do you appreciate the fact that his death was a terrible loss to his sons?
It was horrible.
Jesus.
You were better off without him?
Absolutely not.
That's
Did you
what a
have to
horrible
celebrate
thing to
him
say.
after his murder?
That's a complete lie.
On The Wire, would you agree that the Markel boys were in the background pretty much of every call you had with your mom, and you hear them a lot, right?
My sister was working, so my parents would help my sister out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was summertime, so they were out of school, I would assume.
I don't know if it was every call, but they definitely helped my sister out.
The whole thing's unbelievable,
This
DB.
call's captured Donna pushing them on the swings, that call that tortured all of us a couple times. Remember that one?
Yeah, there was a call where she was pushing them on the swings.
Taking them
Yeah,
to
and you're
tennis
all saying it's
lessons.
creepy.
That was the same day. I mean, that was the same call that got broken up, and she called me back. But yes,
Doing their bedtime routine,
helping my sister out for sure.
reading stories, brushing teeth, getting haircuts, going to piano, story time and bedtime, all of that kind of stuff.
All stuff that parents and grandparents do. You're right.
All right. She even said to you on one of the calls regarding the bedtime routine that, quote, we have a whole routine going. Do you remember that?
I have a whole routine with my.
How's that a
children.
bad
It's a
thing,
normal
Georgia?
routine to put them to bed.
Right.
You
All
gotta
the
brush
kind
your
of
teeth.
things.
Can't forget to brush your teeth.
All the yeah. Well, dental humor couldn't hurt, right?
What's that?
All the things that your mom wouldn't have been able to do as readily if the kids were living in Tallahassee.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, when they come up to visit them, they'd be doing the same thing.
Sure, when they came up to visit, but now
Georgia, stay
day,
focused.
right?
It's a murder trial.
Not every day.
Let's hear about the
when my
murder.
sister needed them, she helped them out.
And these are all things, these little routine things that Dan Markel will never be able to do with his sons. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Does your mom have a favorite child?
She says she doesn't have favorites, but I don't think she likes my older brother.
Okay. But is Wendy the favorite?
I'd like to think it's a tie between me and her.
Does your mom worry more about Wendy than you? Let's
I don't
do
know.
before this case.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't. I think maybe in different parts of my life, she's probably more concerned about me. Different parts of my sister's life, she may be more concerned about her.
Is it true that your mom has a tendency to worry herself sick if there's something going on with one of you kids?
No, I mean she's a concerned mom, but I think she's a normal mom.
Was she pretty worried about Wendy's marital problems?
No,
She wasn't.
I think she'd get upset when my sister would tell her things that Danny was doing and going to work, bad mouthing her. But I think any parent would get upset.
But also, she would meticulously go through all the filings and send long emails detailing her thoughts about every filing in this divorce.
No, I don't think that's the case at all.
Okay. Did she hate Dan Markel?
I think she liked him in the beginning, for sure. And I think when he was being a jerk to my sister, I don't think anyone particularly liked him when he was being a jerk.
What about the time around the time that he was killed? Did your mother hate Dan Markel?
No, I think it kind of like tapered off. I think she only disliked him when he was being mean to my sister. Other than that, nobody had a problem.
He
with
was being mean to your sister during these divorce proceedings and subsequent litigation, right?
I think it was on and off. I think it was sporadic.
And when your mom's worried about Wendy, does she come to you for solutions or to talk things out?
No, I don't think worried is the right word to describe it.
Does she ever make Wendy's problems your problems?
No,
like convincing you to get Wendy to pull the plug on the house on Halloween 2013? Didn't she convince you to sort of take up that cause?
No, that was actually me. I thought I shared my thoughts on home ownership for my sister. That was all me.
Didn't you say that if she had bought that house, that would have been the second worst decision of Wendy's life?
I thought it was going to be a stupid decision to buy that house.
And what was the first worst decision of Wendy's life?
I thought looking in hindsight 2020, I think she'd agree when she married Dan.
And did you convince her to take a particular job as well? Remember that call?
Yeah, she got an offer from a law firm, and she was debating whether or not she should take it. She didn't know if it was exactly what she wanted to do. And I was like, hey, you don't know what you don't like doing until you've done it. Seems like a great opportunity. Like, why not do it? Learn the job skill. It's a skill you don't. She's like, well, I don't have that skill. And I'm like, well, it's a good opportunity to learn it, and you may like it. And if you don't like it, then try something else. But I was trying to encourage her to take what sounded like a great opportunity.
And Mom shared your thoughts. I'm referring to Donna Adelson. Shared your thoughts about this opportunity being a good one for Wendy, right?
I probably heard about the job from my mom, but I definitely heard about it from my sister because I'm talking to my sister about it.
Yeah, I mean, the job was not what she had any experience in, right? It was a whole nother field of law.
Then that was my point. It was like, well, why not take it if they're offering it to you and you can learn something new? Sounds like a great opportunity.
Do you and Donna know what's best for Wendy better than she knows?
No, but not at all.
Were you
Wow.
a spy when it came to Wendy? Did you get information from from Wendy, and relay it to Donna?
At times, because I was dating Bree,
You know,
and Bree worked for Dave, so I would hear stuff about Dave from Bree, so I kind of had an inside. I got inside information.
In what capacity did Bree work for Dave?
Dave was his. After she graduated from college, she was working as a nanny for Dave.
All right. And how old was Bree during the time you were dating her? Was she significantly younger than you?
She was 24, and I was 39.
Is Bree the mother of your child?
She is the mother of my child, yeah.
All right, so back to Wendy and Donna. So Wendy, was she tight-lipped with Donna about her private life?
I don't think she shared everything.
But she would tell things to you that she wouldn't tell to Donna.
I can't say that for sure.
And I'm going to say something here. What about you guys in your family? Do you talk to, let's say, your brother or your sister, and then turn around and when you're talking to your parents, you say something about whatever you were talking with your brother or sister about, right? It's really normal family life.
One, please. Publishing call EEE. EEE. 3 E's. Yeah, would you?
Which where are you going?
On this blade, just stop off at there and fast. Anyway, so I just put the David no.
Oh, did you?
So I just called him an old fart. She's a few months older than me. But so actually, soon for his birthday, turns out Wendy's making him a little party in Cleveland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Wendy goes like very tight-lipped.
You're not kidding.
So what she needs to do is, she's obviously tight-lipped for a reason, it's because she doesn't want you to know
anything.
So, my point is, if she doesn't want you to know anything, then don't ask anything,
I don't
and
know.
be happy,
Yeah,
and then I can find everything out and just tell you.
I know, it's great.
So, I
don't
was like, so, what are you doing for your birthday? It's like, well, Wendy's making me like a little birthday dinner, a little get-together party. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. He's like, yeah, she's doing it. He's like, I don't know anything, all I know is Wendy's putting it together for me, and she's doing it in Woodwood.
Aw.
So, I'm like, oh, that sounds awesome.
All I knew is that she was going straight from work to the hotel where everybody is meeting for the, this Miami Fellows thing that she got. And, that she was going to be there tonight because, it starts early, first thing tomorrow morning.
Right.
I guess in between, she managed to do something else. Which makes me happy, I'm really glad.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't imagine, oh,
So,
yeah, he's happy good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember yesterday you were telling a story about Katie coming in from having had some kind of altercation with Garcia, and she had reported that the necklace had been pulled off her neck. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
All right. And when you were relaying that story to the jury, you used a specific term describing what Garcia had done to her. Do you remember what that term was?
It was only yesterday, but you'll have to refresh my memory how I described it.
You said he roughed her up.
That's accurate.
And that put my antenna up, because that roughed them up is the exact same phrase that Catherine Magbanua said in her proffer that you used on Halloween 2013 when you first approached her about, does she know anyone who can rough someone up?
No, she said
No,
hurt.
I think getting roughed up is an adjective, but what you're doing is the same thing you did with your TV theory. Is like you heard TV mentioned multiple times, so you put the whole case together with the TV,
Okay,
and
we'll
you're
get
putting
to
the
the
whole case
TV.
together with the word roughed up. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
think
not
if
putting the whole case together,
One moment. Don't speak over each other.
but that's
Please wait for him to answer, then you can ask your next question. Go ahead.
But that's an unusual, I mean, it's a specific term. I'm not making a whole case out of it, but did you say roughed up in both places?
Katie was roughed up by Sigfredo when he tore the necklace off of her neck. Yes.
And isn't that the same term you used when you first broached Catherine Magbanua about did she know someone who could rough up someone else?
Never in my life have I ever asked her that question. Never in my life. That conversation never took place.
Did you ever hear Donna Adelson refer to Dan Markel as stupid?
No.
Were you laughing when Wendy was on the stand and I read all the names that Donna referred to Dan Markel as?
No, I laughed when you said the word fucker in court.
Okay. What did she mean when she said Dan Markel was trying to take her sunshines away? Do you know?
My mom never said that.
No. So you never heard her say
that was made up, and he put it in a court filing, and then now it becomes something that my mom said because someone made it up and put it in a court filing. My mom never said that.
Did your mom refer to the children as her sunshines?
No, the kids were 3 and 4. A 3 and 4-year-old can't repeat a conversation and remember words 6 hours later and repeat it accurately. I have a 5-year-old son. Never seen a 3 and 4-year-old do that. So it was made up, and now you're repeating it.
Okay. Have you been a good brother to Wendy?
I always try to be a good brother.
It sounds like maybe you're not agreeing that this was a really nasty divorce, or are you agreeing it was a nasty divorce?
I mean, I don't think any divorces can be pleasant, but I think they definitely had their fights. I mean, they were fighting over bicycles and all kinds of crap.
But in addition to that, Dan Markel accused your sister of fraud, right?
He made an accusation, yeah.
Threatened her with federal kidnapping charges.
Oh, that's a new one. You just told me.
That one's in the emails that are in evidence. Did you review those?
I didn't review the federal kidnapping charges in this case.
Was seeking contempt proceedings. You heard about that here in court, yes?
I heard about that, yeah.
Even went after her lawyer personally. right?
He made serious threats against her lawyer.
And her bar card could have been in jeopardy if any of those, or some of them.
I heard the other day she was saying that I guess her lawyer, he was threatening her lawyer's bar card.
Her lawyer's bar card as well as Wendy's.
He was making lots of threats and writing lots of stuff, I guess.
And he messed with your mom too, didn't he? In that grandma motion, you know which one I'm talking about?
I don't think he was messing with my mom. I mean, nobody took that seriously, and I don't think anyone even knew about it.
Is it
years
your
later.
mom? I'm sorry, finish.
I said I don't think anyone even knew about it till years later.
Isn't your mom notorious for always getting worked up about everything?
She gets upset. I mean, she's a concerned mom. I mean,
But
But-
is she notorious for getting really worked up about everything?
to a certain extent. I mean,
Aren't those your own words from Call S that's in evidence in this case?
yeah, those are my words, but you can't, not to an extreme, but she does worry, especially when like Latin King gang members are extorting her for money.
Did your mom take the grandma motion seriously?
I don't think she even knew about it.
She didn't talk to you about it?
No, I didn't find out about it till years later.
Wasn't this divorce a big deal in your family?
It didn't affect my life. I can tell you that. So I don't think that's true. I think it was a big deal in my sister's life.
Why did Wendy testify that she was getting along well with Dan Markel just prior to his death? Can we agree that's not true?
I think there were ups and downs and how they got along. I mean, you got to ask her. She was on the stand.
What
I
does
mean,
that
I
mean?
wasn't living.
Why did
Is it
Wendy
part of
say
your
that?
defense to
Why didn't
minimize
his
how
attorney jump up and
lasting
object to
contentious
that?
this divorce was?
My defense is to tell the truth.
Did you have any input on the decision to change the boys' names from Markel to Adelson?
Absolutely not.
Do you and Donna have to protect Wendy?
No,
Does Wendy appreciate everything you and Donna do for her?
you got to ask her. I mean, she's my sister. I love her. I try to give her my best advice I can. And if I care about her, and I give her my advice, whether she takes it or not, is up to her. She's a grown woman.
Let me ask it another way. Do you feel, or isn't it true that you don't feel that Wendy appreciates everything you and Donna do for her?
My sister had no idea what I've been through in the last God knows how many years, and I wake up worrying, am I going to get killed? Am I going to get arrested? And she knows none of it. She's just going around her life, and I had somewhat of an innate anger towards her, probably unjust because she didn't know what happened. But yeah, I was upset.
And weren't you saying on the wire that she doesn't appreciate what you and Donna have done for her?
I don't know if I said that she doesn't appreciate what I've done for her because I never did anything for her.
Okay, so that was my next
give her
question.
advice.
What have you done for her? Nothing?
Other than give her advice and care about her, and be a big brother that loves her.
Would you say Wendy's a little bit spoiled?
In some regards, I mean, she gets a lot of help for sure.
Is she a little less savvy about how the world works than you are?
I don't know. I mean, you got to ask her.
Could you trust Wendy with a secret that could ruin your life?
It's not a secret. It's something that would get me killed. So I didn't want to tell her.
Can we agree that she obviously knew something about this crime?
She found out when she came to court. I never told her anything.
I'm talking about the murder of Dan Markel. She knew something, right? I mean, it's not a coincidence that she went to the crime scene, is it?
You're talking about the route that she took that day?
I'm talking about her pulling up to the crime scene tape.
She never went to the crime scene. She was going to buy a bottle of liquor that coincidentally the person sent her a stock the bar party for buy a bottle of bullet bourbon that she was going to pick up. She wasn't driving to a crime scene. And I think she made that clear too. Nobody knew a murder was taking place.
She pulled up to the crime scene tape, Dr. Adelson.
She didn't pull up to the crime scene tape. She was driving down the street and then had to make a U-turn. It was blocked off. But she wasn't going to.
She couldn't help herself.
Nobody knew a murder was going to take place.
She exposed you all to some degree. by those actions, didn't she?
No, not at all.
And then she threw you under the bus in her interview, didn't she?
Nobody knew a murder was going to take place.
She knew her husband had just been shot and they were asking her who would want him dead. And she said your name. Are you mad about that?
No, she said a lot of people's names.
Well, she
Not at
said
all.
yours in the first 25 pages of a 5-hour interview. Isn't that true?
I wasn't there for the interview.
But you've reviewed it in preparation for your trial, haven't you?
I actually don't know if I've seen her interview.
There was a lot of questions of you about, didn't you do this murder with Wendy? Doesn't the state think you did this murder with Wendy? Are you familiar with your charges in this case?
Yes, I'm very familiar with my
All right.
charges.
And who are you alleged to have done this murder with?
I'm alleged to have done this murder with my sister, my mom, and my dad.
Would it refresh your recollection to review a copy of the indictment in this case?
I'm a slow reader, but I could read it if you want.
May I approach your honor?
Okay.
This is the official charging document in your case, Dr. Adelson. What does it say in reference to who you are alleged to have committed the murder with?
This is, what day is this? 2022. Oh, they think I did a murder with Katie.
Catherine Magbanua.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Give me a minute, I'll read. They got Luis Rivera in here. They got Sigfredo Garcia.
As being alleged to have committed the murder with you?
Did I read it too quick?
Take your time. Should just be at the very top of each charge. On or about July 18th, 2014, did unlawfully.
Okay. Yeah, Katie. Catherine.
Okay. Are you mad that Wendy hasn't been charged and you have?
No, I'm mad that I got charged for a crime that I didn't commit.
Do you have any innate anger with Wendy over that fact?
No, not at all.
Are you pissed that she told all that stuff to Jeff Lacoste?
I don't think she said that to Jeff, but I wasn't there.
How did Lacoste know about the celebration dinner?
That we went out to dinner. She got sick, so she may have told someone that she threw up.
And then what? He just added the part about you referring to it as a celebration?
I never referred to it as a celebration dinner. I picked my sister up. I said, "Where do you want to go to eat?" She said she wanted pizza or sushi. I said, "I know a great sushi place." We went there. We didn't have reservations. We ended up sitting at the bar for an hour waiting for our table. She had 2 drinks and got sick.
She vomited on the dinner table or at the dinner table.
Yeah, she got her to the bathroom, but yeah, she doesn't drink alcohol. So those 2 drinks, and I think on an empty stomach, I think she got really sick. But there was no celebration dinner. It was the first time that she actually really left the house since she got back from Tallahassee. She was devastated.
Did you say something to her about the murder of Dan Markell right before she vomited?
Absolutely not.
Do you remember what you said right before she vomited?
She was I think she said, "I don't feel well." And I say, "Oh no." And then she threw up.
Before that,
No, I think I said, "Oh no." And then she threw up.
before she announced that she was going to be ill,
Right.
do you remember what the conversation was?
Just how's the food? How's your? I mean, we were probably about halfway through dinner. If you look at the timetable, we weren't there long.
Why did you brag to Jeffrey Lacoste about your connection to the Cuban criminal element?
Never said that to Jeff Lacoste.
So he's making that up?
Yeah,
If
he
said
is.
it, I never said it.
Well, you were in here when he said it, weren't you?
I heard him say it, yeah. But I never said that to him.
I'm telling you, I got a big problem with Mr. Lacoste.
these calls, and it's in the context of talking about Dave and Wendy's relationship with Dave. You tell your mom that you've already gone above and beyond for Wendy. Was that a reference to having her ex murdered?
No, that's me getting tired of this Dave stuff. I mean, Dave's a great guy. I mean, everyone who meets him likes him. He's not only super successful, but he's very low key, like t-shirts and jeans kind of guy. And he loved my sister's kids. I mean, if you listen to The Wire, the point I was making is not how successful it is. The point I was making is that my nephews farted on him, and he thought it was funny and didn't bother him. And he also has 3 young kids, the same ages as my sister's 2 young kids. They actually met in line when my sister was registering the kids for school, and they've been friends for years. So I thought it was a great opportunity for my sister to have a great guy in her life. And I was getting sick and tired of Dave calls. And The Wire started in April. My sister's birthday's in April. Dave's birthday's in April. So you got a ton of Dave chatter on this case. But believe me, I'd go crazy if I was talking about Dave like this all year long.
So that's a no. You did not reference having her ex murdered
Absolutely not.
when you said
No.
you've already gone above and beyond.
No,
for
that was
Wendy.
me getting sick of dealing with the Dave stuff. As great as the guy as he is, I was still getting sick of it.
When the $1 million offer was conceived, do you recall whose idea that was?
My parents.
Why was the relocation worth $1 million?
Well, it was actually I was gonna pay a third, so I only looked at it as that way. Why was it worth it?
That's the question.
Because it was gonna help my sister out, and it was gonna give her a good opportunity for a good job down here, and she was gonna be around family, and family's important, so that's why.
Isn't it true that financially you came out ahead on this deal as opposed to if you had coughed up the third of the $1 million offer?
What?
How in the world did I come?
What?
ahead? This is the craziest thing.
Financially, you paid $138,000, then you paid $2,000 a month plus the $1,000 payroll amount. You're still about over $100,000 ahead financially than if you had coughed up the $333,000.
What? Are you
I
nuts?
would have been better off paying. And first of all, I never paid for murders. This is a crazy question.
Oh my
But
God.
$3,000 a month for life is not anything anybody wants to do.
I didn't say anything about paying for a murder. I said you paid $138,000, which you did,
I got extorted for $330,000.
and then you paid,
What?
but you didn't pay the $330,000.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I cannot believe my ears.
All right. Can we agree
That was
Wendy
crazy,
stressed out
DB.
about the issues surrounding her divorce?
What in the world did she mean? He came out
And you were
ahead?
hearing about it from your mother, weren't you?
Yeah, I would hear.
Wendy's totally stressed out. Yesterday was a rough one, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like I said it before, is that my sister would tell my mom a story. I'd be sitting in the car driving. My mom would be talking to me and telling me the latest story of the day. And that's how I found out a lot.
And then
That's
on
how it is in my
10/19/14,
family.
Donna texts you again to tread lightly with Wendy and refers to Dan Markel as an asshole and a fucker, right?
Sorry. It made me laugh. Sorry.
Come on, Georgia. That's not a
Is that what
crime.
happened? That text?
Did my mom use a foul word to describe him?
Yes, sir. Asshole and fucker, to be specific.
She used a curse word, correct.
Is that pretty strong language for your mom, or is that how she speaks?
Okay, I've got to
It is
admit
pretty strong
something here,
language, but
people.
I think
Okay, I'm going to admit right here in front of everybody, there is in fact a YouTuber that when I am talking to my husband, I call that YouTuber an Fucker. I do that. And I don't know this person in real life. I just know that they are a horrible person and they hurt people and they mistreat people. So I don't know why Georgia's making a big deal of this, that somehow Granny is a bad person because she calls her abusive or manipulative son-in-law a Fucker. That does not a murder make, Georgia.
And I mean, I've been called a lot worse, but
Sure you have, by all those women.
I mean, my mom used the curse word. She used the curse word. You just use curse words too. So
Was Wendy less stressed? Yeah. Was Wendy less stressed out once all this litigation was over?
no, she was a million times more stressed out.
Was she better off financially?
There may have been some, but not much. I don't think so.
Was she able to stop paying her $800 an hour divorce lawyers?
Yes.
Did she get $2.7 million in benefits for her children plus $4,800 a month for the boys' benefit?
No, as far as I know, that money was in trust and it's controlled by Dan Markel's sister. So none of that money. You keep saying it like the money went to her. The money's in trust for the
Yeah.
kids, and that money never went to her.
Some of it went to her and some of it was in trust for the kids, right?
No.
I don't know the.
How did it
breakdown, but I
go
know
to
that
her, Georgia? Now you got to tell
90-something%
us what the hell you
went
talking
to trust,
about.
and it's in trust for the children. It's not for her benefit.
Right. It's for the benefit of the boys, but it has to come through her because they're children, right?
Well, it
When
has
she
to.
gets disbursements.
Oh, okay. So you
It has to go through the executor of the trust. And my sister's not the executor of the trust.
No, sir. I'm not saying she is. When the executor of the trust disperses money for the benefit of the boys, it gets dispersed to Wendy, right?
See, you know more than I know.
truth always
Did you have
wins,
trouble
people.
sleeping after the murder?
After I was extorted, for sure.
Did Katie text you on 12/19 of 15? Sorry, we have problems sleeping and shit. We do have a lot of weight on our shoulders.
Did she text me that?
Did she text you that?
I mean, she may have, but it sounds about right.
Do you want to look at the text?
I can look at it, sure. Which one?
Glasses. You can look around for context if you want, but I'm looking at page 2 of this exhibit, and it's got a little box around it.
Thanks.
And if that refreshes your recollection, the question is, did she send it?
Yeah.
I want to go over a little bit some of the payments or gifts that you gave to Catherine Magbanwa. We've heard a lot about her being put on the payroll at the Adelson Institute, and she made this demand to you when you met her to give her the first extortion payment on the payment plan. Is that correct?
She didn't make a demand. When I gave her the $3,000 for her friend, she asked me if I could do her a favor and put her on payroll for $1,000 a month so that she could get insurance for her kids. She was going to cash the check, and the money was still going to her friend, so that money wasn't going to her. She was getting insurance for her
And
kids.
did you believe her that she would give the money from the paychecks to the friend?
Yeah, you already said he believed her.
What she was saying to me, yeah.
Isn't it true that Catherine Magbanwa actually asked you to place her on the payroll back in June prior to this extortion effort?
I don't know if I put her on payroll. She asked me if I could put her as something when I was dating her, put her as something on the office so she could get insurance. But I never did.
And that was in June.
Yeah, I remember she'd asked me about it before, but I never did anything.
June 24th of 2014, she says, "Baby, I'm going to need help on the employment info. I have to send to DCF for my kids' insurance. Also, if I have to end up moving later on, I need to show I'm working for you, or else I won't be able to get an apartment." To which you respond, "No problem." Remember that?
Yeah, but I wasn't thinking she was asking about payroll. I think she was asking just to say that she worked there, so that we'd sign a letter saying that she was employed. But that doesn't say anything about writing checks to her.
And that request was made in between the two trips that the killers made.
That
Correct.
request, well, she asked me if I could do that for her while I was dating her, and I never even did it.
And did she ask if you could do that in between the two trips that the killers made?
I didn't know when they went up, but I found out later that they went up in June.
All right, so that email would have been sent, or I'm sorry, it's a text. That text would have been sent prior to what you're calling is the first layer of the extortion.
That text was sent to me while I was dating her, but I never.
Prior to the first layer of extortion,
The text was sent in June
prior to the first layer of extortion.
before I was extorted. Yeah, before I broke up with her.
And you say several times on the wire that she was cleaning at the office. Was she really cleaning?
No, she never worked for us.
She was doing some type of cleanup for you, wasn't she?
No.
What's the purpose of keeping Katie happy? Was she gonna sick the Latin Kings on you if you made her unhappy?
She was protecting me. I didn't know what would happen, and she was keeping my mind like when the extortion never went up, and I just assumed, I thought that she wasn't part of it, and she was protecting me. Usually extortion goes up. It always gets ratcheted up from what I've heard.
What's the fear of not keeping her happy is what I'm trying to understand.
Well, I could get killed, or the people who were extorting me could come rob me. And I didn't get killed. I didn't get robbed. The extortion never went up. I thought she was really protecting me.
If that's the case, why not just, I mean, you're complying with everything they've asked you to do, right?
I'm doing.
Oh my
everything I was
God,
asked to
Georgia,
do.
stop.
Yeah.
So why reach out and say, "Hey, can I get you a trip to Key West to go with that extortion money?"
I never said, "Can I get you a trip to Key West?"
You didn't say you were trying to get them the owner's cottage. Maybe it's not in Key West.
Oh,
Trying to
that's
get
so
them the owner's
amazing,
cottage because
Kathy.
it's nicer, $300
Congratulations.
a night.
Yay.
The postcard in. Do you recall all those conversations?
Oh yeah, for sure. And she'd actually asked me weeks before the bump, because I had this connection at a place called the Moorings that I could get like a really great price at a really affordable price for how nice the place is. And I said I was going to make some calls and help her out and get it. And then I ended up giving her $300 for when she picked up that bag at my house. I put $300 in it and I got her a hotel room.
Is that a yes? You remember that conversation?
Yeah, I do.
And she didn't want the trip. In the text messages, she's saying like, "No thanks," and you're kind of forcing it down her throat. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, because actually it's funny at that
It's
time.
context,
in the wire,
Justice
I
Jane.
was trying to see if Katie and him were together or they weren't together. So that's why I kept asking, how are things? Are you guys okay? Because if they were fighting, it was making me think more and more that the reason she was avoiding me was because she found out that he was the one who was doing the second extortion again. So I was trying to figure out if it was him and if she was lying to me.
And in this case, she says, "I don't want to do anything," and you say, "You know what? F that. You're going there. You're going to have a good time."
For sure, I was trying to do nice things for her.
And then did you pay for a trip or offer to pay for a trip to Santo Domingo for Catherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia to visit his parents?
I didn't know who she was going with, but I paid for it. You're talking about airline tickets?
Yes.
She called me up. She had an emergency. Something happened. She booked tickets for the wrong date. I had no idea who in the family she was going with. And she had no money. And I remember I was in Chicago. I was at a friend's wedding and I took out my credit card and I gave her the credit card number and let her book tickets. I thought she was going with her kids.
So is that a yes? You paid
Oh,
for the
yeah, no,
trip to
I remember
Santo
that well,
Domingo? So
for
go
sure.
quicker if we could just
I'm sorry.
answer the question.
What's the objection?
Argumentative.
Overruled.
Did you offer to
Jesus.
buy Catherine Magbanua and her mom a cruise?
Yes, Katie had mentioned to me that she always wanted to be able to take her mom on a cruise. So I offered, but she never took me up on it.
Did you call in prescriptions for Catherine Magbanua?
She was a patient of record of my office.
Did you pay for a meal service for Catherine Magbanua?
Yeah, I did.
Did you pay for car repairs for her?
Yeah, all this stuff was making me think she was broke. So yes, you're right.
Did you offer that she could use your Range Rover anytime?
I said she could borrow the car. Sure.
Did she talk about getting a boat and you offered to help her get a boat?
I never offered to help her get a boat. I offered to help her look for a boat.
Did you pay for the breast augmentation?
No,
No part of the breast augmentation.
not at all.
So when she's saying at the same time she's the day of the breast augmentation, can I just put it on the credit card? Is she referring? Can I just put it on your credit card? Is she referring to something else, some other expense?
I have no idea what she's referring to, but I did not pay for her boo job.
What about this birthday gift for Sigfredo Garcia? What was the bonsai tree and the bag? What was that all about?
Oh, she had asked me, and it's on a wire. It's on 420, where she says, "Can you get me some bud from Bud?" My next door neighbor's Bud, and she asked me if I could get some marijuana from my next door neighbor for her. So that's what, when I said I have a bonsai tree for you, she asked me, and I got her a little bit of marijuana from my next door neighbor for her.
And you said, I don't know what a married man with kids would want for his birthday, but you did your best. I did my best.
I was being completely, by the way, I was being completely sarcastic. I never would get Sigfredo Garcia a present in my life.
And you thought you hit it out of the park with the weed and the gift card. Did you say that?
Well, give me a little more context.
The context is you don't know what a married man with kids would want for his birthday, but you did your best and you think you hit it out of the park.
No, I was being completely sarcastic because she had asked me for that marijuana 2 weeks earlier, and I gave it to her. And then I was joking around when I gave it to her. I didn't want him to think that I was hooking up with her. So I started to joke around about it. And then I was like, maybe you can just tell him it was for me, because I didn't want him to think that I'm hooking up with Katie, and that's why I gave it to her.
Can we agree in general that it's important to maintain positive feelings between co-conspirators? If you're a co-conspirator with someone in a crime, you want to keep positive relationship with that person. Will you agree with that?
I'm not a co-conspirator with her.
Okay, I'm saying in general. Can you agree in general that co-conspirators in a crime want to stay friendly with each other?
I'm not a co-conspirator with her.
All right, can't agree to that. If a co-conspirator develops a motive to harm another one, that could be bad, right?
Co-conspirator. Say it again.
Say, a husband and wife do a murder together. And then 10 years later, they've gotten away with it, but 10 years later, they fall out. That could be a problem. Somebody might start talking, right?
I was never part of a murder.
Were these gifts, these things that you provided to Catherine Magbanua and her mother and Sigfredo Garcia payment for the murder?
Okay, I never got Sigfredo a gift in my life. The guy absolutely hates me. He wants to kill me. He stalked me. He extorted me. Like, that was being completely sarcastic. And sometimes I make some bad jokes, but that's, even when I wrote he wanted to take me deep sea fishing, I knew he wanted to kill me. Like, you have that text too. I didn't think we were going deep sea fishing.
On April 6th of 2015, did you receive a text from Catherine Magbanua that reads, "Next time, don't be such a dick to someone who has done something for you"?
Yeah, she's protecting me, and she's mad. She's mad at me over something.
Are these gifts what it took to secure her silence for so long?
No, absolutely not. I was never trying to get her silence. I was hoping she'd tell the truth.
Was your dad's birthday in between the two trips that the killers took?
Yeah, my dad's birthday is July 5th.
And what birthday was that for him?
It was his 70th birthday party.
All right, so there's been a lot of talk about the texting between you and your mom about the birthday. And she texts you on March 4th of 2014 and says she can't talk now, but she'll call when she goes to the bathroom in Gainesville and has privacy. She tells you to erase that text after you read it. Why did she have you erase that text?
Okay. If you look at the records, I never erased the text.
Well, why did she ask you? If you know, you may not know.
Maybe she's afraid my dad's looking at her phone and would find out about the president. It made no sense to me. That's why I was like, I didn't erase anything.
How is you erasing the text going to prevent your dad from seeing it on your mom's phone?
Well, if my dad looked at my mom's phone, then he'd see the text and maybe know what she's planning for his birthday.
You weren't with dad. She was with dad. Just to clarify.
Yeah, she was with my dad.
And the text that she asked you to erase, that particular text didn't say anything about a birthday or paella. Can we agree on that?
No, not, but I knew what it was about.
Right. 20 minutes later, she texts again and asks something about dad's birthday. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know we were trying to plan a surprise cruise. That was the original idea.
Okay. And the paella is mentioned elsewhere, not in this particular thread that we're talking about now.
Yeah, we ended up.
Was paella the big birthday gift?
Yeah, I paid for the catering for the whole party.
Then 3 months later, on June 8th, just after midnight, you text her, quote, still working on dad's birthday present. Was that in reference to the paella guy?
Possibly what I was also getting was a present. I mean, it's been 10 years, so I don't know exactly what I got him 10 years ago on his birthday.
And then
Or
at
what I was
1
thinking about.
a.m., I'm sorry, you weren't done.
No, or what I was thinking about getting him.
And then at 1 a.m., mom texts you back, I know you'll, and I think she was in Israel, so that may account for the time, but she texts you, quote, I know you'll come through for me. Is that what she said?
That's what the text said, yeah.
Can we agree the timing of these texts is consistent with being sent the day after the killers got home from their failed June murder trip?
No, it's consistent with a few weeks before my dad's birthday and trying to figure out what we're going to get him.
Why didn't you go to Dan's funeral?
In Canada?
I think there were some in Tallahassee and in Canada as
I
well.
know there was a
But did you go
memorial.
to either?
There was a memorial service here. I
Did
didn't
you go to that?
No, I didn't attend. I knew what had happened to him, and there's no way I could have shown up. I would have been too upset.
Mr. Dubin, your lawyer that was here, seems like a long time ago at jury selection, said, people have different ways of grieving and that sort of thing. Were you grieving for the death of Dan Markel?
I felt horrible about what happened, and I knew what happened.
When
And
did you?
I wasn't
sorry.
I wasn't close to him, but either way, I mean, I felt horrible about what happened.
When did you find out exactly how he was killed? Meaning, like shot twice in the head.
I found out it would have been the next morning is how I found out he got shot in the head.
Do you agree that this was a first-degree murder?
Do I agree?
Planned, premeditated?
The people who killed him planned on killing him. Yeah,
Do you think everyone involved should be convicted?
I think everyone involved should be convicted.
Even the person that hired the hit?
I think anybody who played a role in it, but I wasn't a part of it.
Do you regret that Dan Markel suffered for 14 hours before he died?
I feel horrible.
He was supposed to die quickly, instantly, right?
Are you asking me?
I am.
No, he wasn't supposed to die at all. This was horrible what happened.
Did it surprise you that the cops were able to identify the Prius?
Did it surprise me?
Yes.
I'm not a cop. I don't know how cops investigate.
Did it surprise you to learn that it's not a requirement of law to put the person at the scene of the crime to be guilty of a crime?
Listen, I'm not a police detective.
Was the police work in this case thorough?
I'm sure the police did the best they could.
Did you think that you had done everything properly such that you could never be detected or caught?
Oh my God.
I wasn't part of this murder.
Oh my God.
I have it wrong.
Catherine Magbanua said that you think you're untouchable. Is that true?
Shit.
That's not true at all.
Did your parents drop off money to you on the night of the murder?
I never saw my parents there. You could look at our cell phones and you'll find that out, that we never saw each other.
I did look at the cell phones, and what is on there is your mom texts you, quote, outside your house. And
No, I mean, look at the tower information.
I think you testified that meant she was just passing by on the roadway.
She was approaching the area, yeah, to see if I was home.
All right, and do you know what your response was to her text?
Yeah, like 20 or 30 minutes later, I said 10 minutes.
I'm 10 minutes out, is what you said.
I think I said 10 minutes, but yeah, I'm not home.
Doesn't that indicate you're going to meet them at your house in 10 minutes?
No, I told her to let me know when you're going to be in the area.
Was the money that Catherine Magbanua got damp?
I never gave her any money that was damp. The money I gave her came out of my safe.
Was it damp?
No, I took it out of my safe. I put it on the dresser. She put it in her purse.
Why did Garcia and Rivera, or whoever did it, I guess I should say, why did whoever did it need to kill someone to extort you?
You gotta ask them.
Well, why couldn't they just come put a gun to your head and say, give me all the money in your safe?
Thank God they didn't.
Thank God they didn't.
Thank God they didn't. I would have gotten killed.
If Garcia hated you, why would he drive to Tallahassee twice to kill someone you hated?
It sounds like he was part of the extortion, or Katie put him up to it.
Doesn't blackmail or extortion usually involve the extortionist having some kind of dirt on the victim?
I know how this was done to me. I know I'm just telling you what happened to me. I'm not an expert in it.
If they had come in and threatened to kill you, would you have given them the money in your safe?
If someone came and put a gun to my head, and yeah, I would have opened up my safe and I would have given them the money.
I still don't get how killing Dan Markel advances the ball for them to extort money out of you. Do you?
Because they didn't have
Yeah,
anything
but
on him, Georgia.
They could extort me for life, and I don't think
They could
they
have
knew
blackmailed
exactly
him.
how
They
much I
didn't
had
have
in the
anything
safe.
on
She
him.
knew
So
I
by
had a lot of
killing
money.
Dan and setting him
So this
up,
way I
now
could
they
get
have
extorted
something
for
on
life,
him.
and that's what happened, and I was stuck paying $3,000 a month.
But you could have gotten extorted for life just by the threat of death by Latin King, couldn't you?
Yeah, it's like his attorney is sleeping.
This was as real of a threat as you get. I mean, these guys aren't messing around.
All right, you didn't report this after Garcia was arrested, did you? Did not report this after Garcia's arrest.
No, not at all.
Okay, you did keep paying Catherine Magbanua after Garcia's arrest?
No, I never saw her again.
Did not report this after Magbanua's arrest, correct?
Correct.
Did not testify in either of their trials, correct?
Was never contacted to, but yes.
You were okay with the possibility of them getting away with killing Dan Markel.
I thought the truth was going to come out in 2019.
How? If the witness who knows something doesn't come forward?
Katie knows what happens and knows I was extorted, and her trial was in 19, and I was expecting the truth to come out then. And instead, I found out that she was having this affair with him on me, and she lied, and all this money was going to her.
So if her defense had been, I was an innocent conduit to an extortion, you would have backed her up on that?
If she would have come in and told the truth, and yeah, for sure, you would have heard the same story.
Where is your family located now? You don't have to be specific, but is your mom and dad, are they still in South Florida?
Why are you going to identify where his parents
What
live?
about Wendy and the boys?
My parents live about 35 minutes from my sister, and I used to live about 45 minutes from them.
And are they okay, as far as you know, physically today as we sit here?
Yes.
And are you concerned that because you've told now on the Latin Kings that they're going to come kill your whole family?
Oh my
There was a story
God.
that I knew that was told then that Luis Rivera, the head of the Latin Kings, killed Dan Markel. So, I mean, I do have some
Wow.
concerns I get out.
Right, but even after,
Wow. You're a terrible
I
person.
do have some concern.
You are a
Latin Kings
terrible
not allowed to speak.
person.
I'm told what I know.
but what about, I mean, Rivera was already in custody at one point, as well as Garcia and Magbanua. My understanding is
This is personal. This is personal. She has no interest in putting a criminal behind bars. She is after him for
Luis
something
Rivera, head
personal.
of the Latin Kings in custody means absolutely nothing. If you think he can't send somebody from the outside, you're wrong.
Absolutely right.
So my question to you is, did that happen? Because you told yesterday.
Was I killed yesterday when I was in jail? No.
And nobody in your family has been killed so far.
Good
You're
for
talking
you,
about the
Dan.
last
That was a
24 hours?
great answer,
Right.
Charlie.
No.
Okay. But you're worried about
See,
that.
those are the
I think
kinds
now
of
that I've
answers that
spoken,
come
I
out
do
when
have a
people are
concern
telling the
about
truth.
But not too concerned to remain silent when it's your own butt on the line, right?
I'm here to tell the truth.
You have no
Right,
case,
so I have a concern now
Georgia.
that I told you what happened. Absolutely.
Admit it.
Mom tells you on that first wire call that the bump involves the two of us, referring to yourself and your mom, right?
Yes, that's what she said.
And would you agree, prior to your explanation, that that looks pretty incriminating?
I think if you don't know what happened, you can assume the worst.
Isn't it true that you had to add the bit about confiding your extortion in your mom in order to put that toothpaste back in the tube?
No, that's what happened when I got the
Because-
checks.
Otherwise, why would you bring your mom into this?
I didn't want to. When I first told her on the phone and asked her to write the checks, I told her, I said, just it's a long story. I brushed it off and she didn't press anything, but I think she was out somewhere. It wasn't until when I picked up the checks that she started pressuring me and saying, this makes no sense. Why are you doing this? You're not dating Katie. And that's when she found out.
But your mom is the most high strung out of the whole group, right?
He didn't want the dad to go to the jail, to the
She
cops.
worries, right?
I don't think she's super high strung, but she does worry about her
You
kids.
don't?
No. You've never met her.
Well, you said she was, quote, notorious for making a big deal out of everything.
I mean, she overreacts, but she's a mom. I think a lot of moms overreact.
Okay. You could have told her, Katie's down on her luck and I'm just going to be putting her on the payroll. I mean, you were making enough money. You could tell her to just write checks, couldn't you? Why'd you have to tell her it was an extortion from Latin King gang members?
Well, okay, at that time I didn't know anything about the Latin Kings, but when I told her what happened, I was thinking that, it actually would be good if someone knows what happened in case I get killed. They at least know what direction to start looking in. So until that point, nobody even knew. So when she started questioning me, I just said, you know what, I'm going to tell you, but don't say a thing to Dad. Don't say a thing to Wendy. You got to promise me. I didn't want her to ever talk about this again. And that was the day that she found out, was when I got the checks.
What she doesn't say on the wire is, it's happening again. I was approached by another extortionist today. Does she say that?
No, she's talking very carefully.
And you say carefully, but isn't carefully the same thing as code?
No, they're two totally separate things. You know the difference?
Wow,
really
come
giving her
on,
money
George.
for a TV,
Oh,
were you?
man.
Giving her money for TV.
This TV is probably going to be about $5. I
Okay.
need you to bring cash tonight.
I wish she picked another object on planet Earth other than TV. But TV is code for absolutely nothing. There is no code in this case involving TV. And you keep circling and circling and circling TV, you're wrong.
Be
Is it a
careful,
coincidence
Charlie.
that
Shut
the
your mouth.
repair of the TV that you bought Wendy as a divorce gift because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman is your sister's alibi for the murder, and then your mom brings up TV first call on the wire?
It's not an alibi for a murder. She had a broken TV. You got to ask Lincoln, who threw the remote at the TV.
Was it a coincidence? Is the TV thing a coincidence? That's
Don't-
what I hear you say.
Oh, that the repairman was there that day?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is a coincidence for sure. There's a
And
couple
all
of
the
coincidences in this
Oh,
case.
okay. I'm sorry.
I said
Am
there's a
I
couple
hearing this right?
coincidences in this case.
He is now saying, Georgia is now saying that the broken television, that's part of the murder. Is that what they're saying? So she's saying, okay, wait a minute, alibi. So she's trying to say that Wendy was at the murder scene. Is that what Georgia's saying? That Wendy watched Sigfrido shoot Dan Markel? What? What does that mean? Does that make sense to anyone? Am I the only person that this sounds like a schizophrenic who is just taking bits and pieces of information and then weaving it together into this, odd, disjointed story? Occam's razor is a real thing. What Georgia has put out there is just, this is crazy. His story is pretty believable and logical.
Case. I mean, she had people send her an email to go buy a bottle of Bullet bourbon for their stock the bar party, and she was driving to a liquor store to buy a bottle of Bullet bourbon on that day at that time, and her friend sent the email, and you have the email and evidence. Like, is that a coincidence? Yeah, coincidences happen.
And the you might not be the right Katie talk, that doesn't seem to really fit with your theory of the case, does it? What was your explanation for that? Why you kept saying you might not be the right Katie? I mean, she's definitely the right Katie, right?
Absolutely. She knew it was. I was implying it was her. I was just trying to say, I'm not setting you up, but I need your help.
On call B, you call your mom back and you say, you probe her a little bit, and ultimately you say, you think someone's trying to blackmail you? That's crazy. Why does it sound like this is something that's new and unfathomable to you at that moment?
Well, because I wasn't even following what my mom was talking about on the first call. And on the second call, when she shocked me when she said that. And I'd been extorted before. And her saying to bring cash, everything just didn't sound right.
Could we play clip 4, please? This is from Dolce.
What, sorry, from what?
Clip 4 from Dolce. Even if they had any evidence, the first words out of your mouth on this clip, even if they had any evidence. No. Strike. The quote is, if you say, if they had any evidence, we'd have already gone to the airport. And I know you already testified about this, but does an innocent person say, if they had any evidence?
Right. Katie's saying it's the police, and I'm saying that we're innocent. They're not going to have any evidence to show we were part of something that we were part of. If we had any part of this, we'd be going to the airport right now. And
Isn't it true, doctor, that they're not going to have any evidence because you were careful?
No, because we weren't a part of this.
You were smart.
No, we weren't a part of this.
You walled yourself off from
I was
the
sure
killers.
they're not going to have evidence to show I did something I didn't do. So we're not running to the airport.
And you're untouchable, right?
No, we didn't do a murder. I wasn't part of a murder. There's no reason to run to the airport.
In the next clip, you're discussing what's going to happen if this person that did the bump goes to the police. And you're going through all these scenarios, these possibilities.
Wait, if he goes to the police?
Yeah, the blackmailer goes to the police. They're going to say, where's the weapon? And he's not going to know. He's just going to have hearsay, basically. Someone told me they did it. It's not going to be enough to get the investigation anywhere. Why are you thinking through the possibility of the blackmailer going to the cops if the blackmailer doesn't have any dirt on you to take to the cops?
I wasn't thinking about the blackmailer. What I was trying to say is I don't know anything about Sigfredo. I don't know anything about this crime. I was trying to tell her that I'm harmless. I don't have any knowledge of what went on. Like, the last thing I wanted is that now that she's saying it's the police, is someone to come and kill me and think I'm some kind of loose end. So that's why I'm saying that.
But that's not what you're saying. You're saying if this is a person that Luis Rivera ran his mouth to, and they go to the police, it's going to be worth zero because they're not going to know anything other than, hey, my brother told me this.
I don't know if I was saying someone who knows Luis Rivera. I was trying to make a point that I don't know anything.
And then you suggest what they would have to do is get him to wear a wire and get the person to confess. And that's probably what this could be, an effort to do, right?
Well, they're thinking that we were part of a murder. So this was the same thing I said before, is that this is their theory. So this is a police tactic, and it could be either a bad guy or the police. And this is how they're pursuing it.
Exactly. So as long as you keep your mouth shut, you can get away with murder, right?
No, not at all.
Isn't that
We
what you
didn't- we
told
didn't do a
Ryan
murder.
Fitzpatrick?
No, Ryan Fitzpatrick is someone who stole over $500,000 from me.
That's not my question, sir.
Sorry.
Did you say that to Ryan
No,
Fitzpatrick?
never. Never at all.
Why do you go into so much detail about rental car examples? Let's start with strike that. Can you agree that the Prius, you knew that the police were looking for a Prius at the time you met at this Dolce Vita restaurant?
I think it had been released at that time.
All right, and you heard the recording. You're arguing. Let's play the clip. This is going to be clip. I think let's play 7 and 8, please. Dolce.
Because the fact is, like, even if, let's say, you just have my car, and then I go ahead and I get in the car, and I go, when you're dating in the car, I go, yeah, she was in my car, and he got out, and she did this horrible crime. Okay, they come and they get the DNA in the car, they go, oh, she was in my car. No, he sat in the car for 2 minutes, got an EAC, and then got out of the car. See, it has nothing to do with you. Outside of that, there's no evidence. Okay? You know, if you have a car and you can link this person to renting that car that you okay. But you have to prove that they were also driving that day too and rented it and lent it to a friend. What if you rented a car and hey, can I borrow for the weekend? I'll bring it back on Tuesday. You go, yeah, sure. So you rented the car. You've been in that car. I drive into fucking Orlando. I rob McDonald's in Orlando. I come back and I go to Sears and okay, thanks. Yeah, you rented it, but what if you were fucking out all weekend and you didn't even know I took your car? I did something and I brought it back. Okay. But my point is, I don't have any knowledge. Evidently, this person is either pretending to or does. I don't want someone paying to do this.
Sounds like you're saying even if they track down the Prius, even if there's DNA or fingerprints in the Prius, meaning like they can link someone to the Prius, that's not going to be enough evidence to make any arrests in this case. Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. What I'm doing is I'm
You've
restating.
answered my question.
Can I give you an
On redirect, you'll have an opportunity.
Well,
My question was.
One moment.
my
We're
question
not
was-
just wildly arguing. Mr. Adelson, please answer the question.
okay.
I
Please
can just ask you a yes or no question.
Please
and
allow me to
you're-
answer your question.
Okay.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Help yourself out.
What I was saying to Katie is that the information she had just told me in the car about Sigfredo not being there when the crime was committed, she told me that Sigfredo was high on drugs at the hotel and that Luis had rented a car and that he's the one who killed Dan. And I'm restating to her that I don't have any knowledge of what went on and that all I know is that Sigfredo wasn't even there when this happened. So that's what I'm restating to her.
That Sigfredo can't be caught even if he's connected to the crime, to the
Sigfredo-
car.
I know that Sigfredo wasn't the one who killed Dan.
Okay. Wouldn't it be good for you, because you know now that Sigfredo is the extortionist, right? She just told you that in the car.
Sigfredo, yeah.
Okay. And wouldn't it be good for you if the police investigation into the Prius led to the arrest of the killers / extortionists?
If they arrested the people who killed Dan,
Yeah.
I know the extortion would stop. As long as I kept my mouth shut, I'd be safe.
Right. So why are you trying to argue to her that like the car is not going to lead anywhere? They're not going to be able to do anything with the car.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I know that Sigfredo wasn't the one who killed him.
Did you say on this recording, if they're a bad guy, there's two ways of dealing with it. Go ahead and contact the police. They'll contact him, the blackmailer, and arrange a setup. Take him down and he'll proffer 10 years and now tell us everything you know or else you're going to serve 10 years in prison. Next thing you know, this person is singing. He's calling out your name. My parents are going to have to tell the story of what happened. Singing about what? About the extortion?
No, I think you're reading it wrong. I know the audible is bad.
What would
Are those the words?
Yes, sir. What would the extortionist, and now I'm referring to the one that contacted your mother.
The Latin King extortion.
Well, they're both Latin
Yeah.
kings, right?
The second extortion.
What would they have to sing about?
The second extortion would be singing and talking about the first extortion, where they learned their information from.
Who cares? That doesn't have anything to do with you.
Well, when they catch the first extortion, Katie's tied to them and I'm tied to Katie. They're going to come talk to us, and we're going to be in danger when we tell them what happened. So I was saying, if they catch the second, they're going to turn in on the first, and that's the same thing I said yesterday.
You gave very precise instructions to Catherine McBanois on what she was to say when she calls the phone number, right?
Yeah,
Did you do that?
Absolutely.
And then you say, quote, "You'd better kill him because he's going to be a big problem. And he knows who you are. If
That was
he
a
can't do it,
hypothetical.
I'll have someone else do it."
It's a
Aren't you
hypothetical.
telling her that if Garcia can't handle this problem and kill whoever's behind this, you will have someone else do it?
You're
Oh
reading
my
it totally
God.
wrong.
It's a yes or no question, sir.
No, you're wrong.
Oh my
When
God.
Dan Markel's murder was taking too long to happen, didn't you tell Catherine McBanois that if she couldn't get it done, you would find someone else to do it?
No, I've never said that either.
Wow.
And then you say in the recording, I'm back to Dolce now. Yeah, and guess what? When the effing police show up and there's a doctor, there's an oral surgeon standing there with a dead gang member in his effing driveway, they're not going to come down too hard on me. So you knew you'd be believed if you went to the police, right?
I didn't know I'd be believed, but I feared for my life.
And then you say, so help me God, if they fuck with my family, it's going to be fucking Nazi shit, because this will be done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Katie, I don't care what I spend, okay? I swear to God.
He's trying to
These are
protect
not-
his parents.
That's an expression that Katie would use to describe someone that's going crazy. I think the Nazis were absolutely crazy people. So I'm saying I'm going to get somebody to go crazy on the guy that's trying to extort my mom for money. I'll pay someone to go threaten him and to scare him. I was not
Nazis-
talking about killing anybody.
Well, you say the word kill. Yes?
No. Oh, when you're putting the words in my mouth, well, we can
No,
do that
sir.
sentence.
Do you say the word kill?
I'm talking about if Sigfredo's coming after you, he's such a dangerous guy, you'd have to kill him to stop him. That's the only thing you could do. Not talking about killing the extorter. I'm talking second extortion.
Okay.
I'm saying that if Sigfredo's coming after you, the only thing that you could do is you'd have to kill him to stop him. I'm not talking about killing anybody. I'm talking about that's the only way that you could stop Sigfredo from coming after you is you would have to kill him. And that's exactly what I said there.
This is bizarre that Georgia's doing this.
Nazis kill, right? Isn't that like their primary objective?
What?
No, I think Nazis are insane, crazy people.
That exterminate.
Jews.
That kill, yes, but they're
This-
crazy. That was an expression she would use, and that's when I used it to her, but basically saying I'm gonna have someone go crazy on this guy. I could have used the word crazy. I thought it was interchangeable.
Isn't what you're doing here in this portion of the tape feeling her out to make sure Garcia doesn't have any bad feelings toward you?
When I said it, yeah, I thought he could have been behind the second extortion. I think I've said that before.
And you go into like how your relationships didn't overlap, you never disrespected him, and you mentioned that you don't think that they, I assume you mean these other people, associates that have contacted your mom would want to mess with his connections, right? You remember?
You're talking about the copycat extortion.
Right. And then you ask if he's too far removed or can he still make a call? Are you referring to Garcia in that?
Yeah, exactly.
So can Garcia make a call to try to figure out who this is?
Garcia helped stop the second extortion. Someone's doing a piggyback extortion on the first. That's exactly what I said.
On the topic of conversation for Captain Magbanua, don't you say, I look for things to do? I show you, that's the difference. You don't ask me for shit. You said all those things, right?
Absolutely, because that's proving what I've been saying all along is that I didn't think she was part of this, so I was doing things to keep her happy from time to time. Ethan's birthday, I brought up there. I gave her $300. I helped her out with the car when her car was broken, for sure.
And then you say, listen, you giving somebody money is not an admission of any kind of guilt. Would paying the money have made her look guilty?
That's what she was saying to me. She said it's the police. You can't pay the police. They're going to think you were part of a murder and they're going to arrest you.
But if it was an extortionist, it could have created a monster, right?
And if you don't pay the extortionist, you could get killed.
So when
Or you
these
could keep getting
guys,
extorted.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said if you don't pay the extortionist, you could get killed, or you could keep getting extorted.
But your main concern was that if we pay, this guy will think I'm an ATM machine, right? He'll keep coming back again and again and again. Don't you articulate that to Catherine Magbanua?
If it was an extorter, that was one of the concerns. The other concern was not paying him and getting killed.
But what you say is, well, I don't remember the quote exactly. The main concern, what I'm most worried about is that they're going to keep coming back for more, right?
I don't remember using the word the main concern.
But what you don't say in here is like what you or your homies have been doing to me for 2 years.
Of course not. I don't want her to think I'm setting her up.
Why are you explaining extortion and how extortion works to Catherine Magbanua?
In there?
Yeah,
Because I know.
but she knows too, doesn't she?
So I repeat myself. I do that.
You also explain it to your mother how extortion works, and has known about it for 2 years too, right?
From what I told her, yeah. I'm reminding her.
Then you say, if someone's messing with you, they're messing with me. And if someone's messing with me, they're messing with you. It's one and the same, right?
Yes, I said that.
You're in this together, right?
We're both innocent.
You were very obviously relieved on the wire when you came to the conclusion that this was law enforcement. Would you agree with that?
Very relieved, yeah.
All right. And at that same time that on the wire you're expressing relief, or I should say, shortly after all the relief expressed on the wire, we've got the arrest of Catherine Magbanua, right?
No.
No. Okay. Would you agree that it goes relief on the wire, then arrest of Catherine Magbanua?
Do you want to give me dates? Because Kathy was arrested 6 months later.
Okay.
The wire
Can we
was in
agree
April,
that
she was
you were
arrested in
very
October.
relieved on the wire and that 6 months later, Catherine Magbanua was arrested?
She was arrested 6 months later, correct?
And 6 months later, after you were completely relieved on the wire, you begin to exhibit these extreme behavior changes that we've heard about. And what is your explanation for that?
Because I thought I'd be falsely arrested.
Did you encourage Catherine Magbanua to reconcile with Garcia? That's a yes or no.
Yes, for sure I did.
Was that a good decision for her or a good decision for you?
Neither.
You've heard your lawyer say that you talk a lot. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
And you talk a lot on the wire, right?
Yes, I do.
Do you agree you're not a direct person?
My direct person.
There's a lot of circular talking on the wire.
I mean, however you want to describe my mannerisms of talking, you're welcome to describe them.
I'll do that in closing. What I'm asking is, do you agree
I
that
mean,
you are like that?
I think at times I'm direct, for sure.
Do you have a way of saying things without really saying it?
No, I think I'm pretty direct with things.
Do you think you can talk your way out of this?
No, I don't. I'm not part of a murder.
Who are they going to believe, right? An oral surgeon or a gangster?
That's extorting me in my driveway and coming and threatening me.
You're untouchable, right?
No, I'm not part of this murder. You
There
have
was
it
a
wrong.
lot of talk about going to the police on the wire, which I think we've well established did not happen. But you've always gone to the police before, right?
I've had other things that have gone to the police for you.
You've gone to the police in reference to something to do with your child's mother? Yes or no?
Yes.
You've gone to the police when you were threatened to be blackmailed over something with a woman back in 2015. Remember that?
No, I didn't go to the police.
Did you send a letter from your lawyer indicating that describing her actions as an attempted shakedown and indicating that not only will Dr. Adelson never pay a settlement, he will undoubtedly prevail and seek attorney's fees against your client?
Right. That's a civil complaint, and somebody was making an unfounded civil complaint and threatening filing a lawsuit, and an attorney handled the civil complaint. The police were never notified, but it was a civil suit.
It was somebody trying to shake you down for money.
It was a unfounded claim from a civil suit to me and another dentist that it was involving.
It was a claim that potentially had criminal implications as well, wasn't it, doctor?
For me?
Yes.
No. There was never a police investigation with that.
In 2018, did you report an aggravated assault where a vehicle was driving aggressively and narrowly avoided striking you?
I had a reporter almost kill my 10-week-old puppy dog that I was walking because I was going for a walk in the morning and he was stalking outside my house.
In 2018, did you report an aggravated assault where a vehicle was driving aggressively and narrowly avoided striking you?
Maury almost hit my dog too, but yeah.
Do your nephews deserve to know the whole truth about who killed their father?
Yeah, now they do.
Do Danny's parents deserve to know what happened to their son?
Absolutely.
And you say you knew. I mean, you now say you knew a big piece of what happened, right?
Yes.
Do you feel bad about not volunteering that to Danny's parents?
I feel a sense of relief that now I was able to tell everybody what finally happened.
Yesterday, almost 10 years later, right?
Yeah.
And that's because you didn't just know a big piece of it. You were a big piece of it, weren't you, doctor?
I was extorted and I knew a lot, yeah.
One moment, please, Your Honor.
Before we redirect, do any of the members of the jury need to take a break before we continue with the examinations? The bailiff will escort you back to the jury room. We'll have a brief 10-minute break before we have redirect.
Wow. Wow. My goodness. Good gracious. That was, whew. Well, I don't know. So I was playing Sudoku while I was listening. What do y'all think? My goodness. Wow. I don't even know where to unpack this. The prosecution sucks. She should be nailing him for every single word. He corrects her on the difference between blackmail and extortion. So far, she stinks. What the F? DB, the defendant is not a monster. The 3 perpetrators of this horrific crime are already convicted and sitting in jail. I can't believe people can't see through his lies. I'm telling you, Justice Jane, I think he's telling the truth. I mean, you and I have been lockstep in agreement. I think it's a rare thing for us to disagree on these cases. I also recognize 100%. I pretty much stand alone in my belief that this guy is innocent. Looking at Katie Magbanaw's second proffer is just unbelievable. This woman could not give, not Sarah, what's the girl's name? Sheila, could not give her any information about Dan's role in him requesting the murder of Dan Markle. She said, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You see, that's my dilemma. I don't know. I can't tell you what he said. I don't know why Charlie wanted this or wanted that. This was the second proffer after she's already thrown him under the. I honestly believe that this guy's telling the truth. I believe that. Wow. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I thought, so I will say this, Justice Jane. When I was listening 2 days ago, must have been 2 days ago, when Georgia arrested her case, I literally gasped. And the reason that I gasped is because I kept saying to myself, well, so far we don't have anything at all that is real evidence against this guy, Charlie Adelson. And I kept thinking, but there's got to be something, because not only is she absolutely convinced, but the rest of the true crime community is convinced. And I'm always in lockstep with everybody else in the way they see these cases. So I thought, I'm missing something. I think I found everything about the old cases and the interrogations. I must have missed something. I got to be wrong about this. Somewhere it's going to come out. And when she rested, I thought, no, I literally am seeing this different than everyone else that has followed this case. And then DB stepped up, and Elizabeth and Critters. There's a handful of us. There's about 12 of us that are looking at this going, no, I don't think he is guilty. So it's weird, Justice Jane. I'm in a weird situation. But it didn't even change my mind. What about you, DB? Did you see something? Oh, okay. So DB says no gotcha moment. What do y'all think? Like, was there a moment that he looked bad? Like, was there a moment that it seemed he was lying or manipulating or misleading? Like, where was the point, Justice Jane, that you felt that it was a bald-faced lie? No, nobody. If I'm wrong, teach me. Hey, Marvel Heroes, what's your opinion? Because Marvel Heroes believes that Charlie Adelson is guilty, but that the prosecution of the facts is not working in favor of the prosecution. Is that accurate, Marvel? Well, and here's the deal, Blonde PT. So we both work with people, right? When people are being just truthful, they're not trying to like hide or sneak or anything like that. They have answers for these moments that look like, well, yeah, why'd you do that? That's illogical. Then they open their mouth and they explain what they're thinking, and you're like, well, I can see that. So and that was kind of one of the things Johnny Depp said is, his career had been destroyed. He had lost all his contacts. His friends had abandoned him. And he just kept thinking, I'm being destroyed publicly by this woman who says that I beat her and abused her. And in reality, I am, in fact, the person that was being battered. And what he really wanted to do was take his money and hide, just disappear from the spotlight, never to emerge again. But then his friend said, you have the right to live your life in an honest way. And if you're telling the truth, then truth always wins. Like truth will always emerge. It's very difficult to hide the truth, even when the truth works in your favor. And that kind of became the motto for his defense team. Truth always wins. Like focus on the truth. That's where it doesn't matter the outcome of this trial. What the desired goal is that I reestablish my truth. And that's where truth always wins came from. So is that why Dan Markle, not Dan Markle, I apologize. That was a misstatement. Is that why Charlie Adelson seemed so at ease on the stand? Because he is telling the truth? And no one's talking now. I don't know what I said to you guys. I apologize if I upset you. I recognize, I do understand I am a very teeny tiny minority in this enormous true crime world that we have here on YouTube. I can't see the guilt. I don't see it. I went back, I watched the trials of Katie McBanoa. I watched all the interrogations. I read everything I could get my hands on. I don't see the guilt, y'all. And people have not been nice to me. People have not been nice. I have had some nasty comments that have been left because I disagree. And I'm not saying that it's very likely, in fact, I guess statistically, it's far more likely that all of you are right and I am wrong. That is the more likely scenario. But maybe that's why people are mad at me. Maybe they're mad because I don't see the guilt. Someone correct me, educate me, tell me how I'm wrong in the way I'm looking at this. Never fear truth. There you go. Thank you, Vicky. So how am I wrong in the way I'm looking at this? Yeah, not truth always wins. Never fear truth. That's it. Thank you for the correction, Vicky. I knew truth. It was something about truth. So someone explained to me what it is that I did not see. Because now we're on redirect, right? So this is it. We've seen her case. And then we have 25, 30 people in here who thinks this is going to be a not guilty. I almost don't want to ask that question, but I know full well that if we were to go to one of the other like mentor lawyer who I admire, his channel is really great. They're all talking about what a great job Georgia did and Charlie's going down. I know they are. I don't even have to go in there and look. but I don't see it. Why? Why am I not seeing it? Somebody explain that to me. I know arrogant guys like this that think like he does. He's guilty of being a know-it-all asshole. 100% he is a know-it-all. 100% on the arrogance. Him smiling, 100%. You just want to just whop him up the head and say, Charlie, you are in the fight for your life, and you're sitting here grinning like you got the world, by the tail. Stop. This is not a time for laughter and mirth, and it's not at that time. But is that what he's being prosecuted for? It's because he's a stuck-up, arrogant asshole? Is he being prosecuted because he's brilliant? Is he being prosecuted because he has a lot of money? Or is he being prosecuted because he legit killed a guy? Rojo says, what matters is if only one juror thinks like you do, the prosecution is very weak. Good morning, every morning. Good morning to you, Rojo. Thank you for your comment and the fact you didn't call me an asshole. I appreciate that. No, you're exactly correct. And when this trial started, I was trying to go into other channels and just sort of have this conversation, right? And that's what I said, Rojo. It takes one juror. That's all it takes is one. And you've already got Catherine Magbanawa, who did get a hung jury. Now, they got her the second go around, right? But if you've already got one, and she's really the one that had the direct ties, if you've got her getting a hung jury, what's the chances this guy's going to get a hung jury where there was literally no evidence? Here's what I mean when I say no evidence. I want to clarify this. When I say no evidence, here's what I'm talking about. There's no standalone evidence that would make a jury go, yeah, but how do you explain this away? Like in the Murdoch case, when you play a recording of this man talking to his wife and his son about the dog that's got the guinea, and that is exactly at the moment that he says that he was up at the house taking a nap or getting in his truck and driving to his dad's house. At the exact moment, that is standalone evidence. That is evidence that says, hold on here, Buster. They were killed right here, this spot, bloodstains on the ground. And this video with a timestamp puts you right here when it happened. And you're claiming that you were nowhere around to be seen. You were on your way to go see your dad, and you did not know what happened till you returned later that evening. That is standalone evidence. It doesn't require anyone to interpret it for you. Nobody has to explain what that means, because all you need to know is he said he was not there, but we now have evidence he in fact was there just moments before the death when she stopped texting or calling, right? Moments. Don't explain that away. That is evidence. In this case against Charlie Adelson, there are connections that are uncomfortable. And then the cops pulled out all the stops. They were recording everything. They were following this family around for years. They were bringing convicted felons into their fancy offices with proffers, and they still could not get evidence. So here's what we have. We have a lot of comments that require Georgia explaining it to you why it is indicative of a crime. You put this man up on the stand, and then he says, no, Georgia, that is not what we were talking about. And he goes on to explain what they were talking about, and it makes sense. She's trying to use the fact that Charlie is talking about his sister to his mom, and George is taking that conversation and saying this is evidence of a murder. No, it's what every single one of us experiences every day in our families. It's normal life. That's what I mean when I say there's no evidence. There's nothing that says we do in fact have a $100 bill that has Charlie Adelson's fingerprints on it. We don't have that, do we? They didn't find one of Charlie Adelson's hairs at Sigfrido's house. We don't have that. There's none of that direct evidence. It's not there. It's just a tale. Now, stay with me here. It is a tale that requires someone to interpret it for you. You got to have Georgia telling the once upon a time tale, or you don't know what all this means. Is that evidence? I don't think so. I think this is a railroad job. I think this is a frame up. The big question is why? Why does she need this prosecution? Why does she need this? It's very disturbing.
You can bring them in.
It's very disturbing. And it scares me that this is happening in the United States of America. And don't forget, our system is built in a way that would rather see a guilty man walk free than an innocent man go to prison. Is there enough reasonable doubt in this case that is going to set Charlie Adelson free? And that lady right there, that is the big problem, is her heart is broken. Her child was murdered. And you can watch her face and her daughter's face through these proceedings, and you can see the look on their face change from one of, resolve and firmness and strength to kind of looking at each other like, what? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. This could end up being a coup. He could still be found guilty, of course. This is one of the few trials I've seen where I feel like, wow, this guy could totally walk. And I think Georgia is feeling that as well. Yesterday, after the proceedings, the camera was still rolling. She had a really bad look on her face, not angry at all, just sort of like, damn, what am I going to do? And I'll point out something else that sort of stands for the other side, the side that believes this guy's, lying and whatnot. Did you notice he's got a photographic memory of all of this evidence? He's pulling out of his mind whether something was a wire or whether it was a text, and he's giving you the date. That's another problem for Georgia. It's hard to trip someone up who's walking around with a full encyclopedic edition of the case against Charlie Adelson and Catherine McBonna and, Sigfrido and Lewis. It seems like law enforcement suspected they were involved and then set out to prove it somehow because they didn't like this family. That's what it looks like to me, Blondie. It looks like that they were convinced that someone else would have ordered the hit. Maybe they said to themselves, why in the world do we have the Latin kings driving all the way up to Tallahassee to do a hit. Like, where's that coming from? And so Charlie Adelson gets roped in, by proxy. Apparently, we can now be prosecuted for aligning with a political party. Our judicial system isn't always unbiased, and you cannot overlook this fact, Rojo, when you're talking about this political issue. Who, in fact, is Wendy Adelson's attorney? It's also the man who is defending Donald Trump in one of his indictments. Is that true or false, Rojo? You would hope that that's not what's happening to this family. You would hope, but we don't know at this point. Things have gotten really weird, in the United States. Well, they're about to get started, peeps. Oh my gosh, get ready for anything. And Rojo, I'm glad you're here. And Marvel, I'm glad you're here. Not so much, he's got to be guilty or he's got to be innocent, but people that are really trying to look at this in terms of just what are we witnessing? Like, what are the facts? Absolutely. Elizabeth, yay. Okay, we got Elizabeth here. Thank you, Elizabeth. No, I'm telling you, I left a comment, saying it just is going to take one juror to see it or have the experience that I am having, which is I don't see the evidence. I hear her story. I hear the conceptualization, the filter for the facts. I hear that, but where's the real evidence? Like, I need something. If you're going to send somebody to prison, especially a health provider, a doctor, if you're going to take that person out of society so they're no longer helping the members of the community, I need something that is solid, right? Katie Magbanua she's a con artist. She tried to marry him, and when he said, I am not the marrying type, then she said, this first time in my life I've ever even come close to real wealth. I'm going to get a piece of this pie. I'm not going to get left behind. And that's when the hit was orchestrated. Why? Why was Georgia herself brought this up. Why was the hit orchestrated? Because Katie had nothing on Charlie Adelson with which to blackmail him. She had to have something to blackmail him with. And so rather than real blackmail, they set up the hit. They told him, we're going to set you up and your family and say that you guys told us to go kill him. And you better give us money. I don't know why this is hard to comprehend.
Members of the jury, I was informed by an unnamed source that some baked goods have made their way into the jury room. If there is a red velvet cake and no one brought enough to share, contempt powers will be exercised. Mr. Rauschbaum,
red velvet.
Direct your client.
That's my son's favorite cake. I like this judge. I like that he inserts a bit of levity.
About that text on August 25th, 2014, when Katie said to lose her number. Do you remember those questions?
Yeah.
Isn't it true that within 12 hours of that text, you're offering her help on her car with an individual named Sully?
Yes, I remember that.
Why are you offering her that help just within hours after that text?
Because I wanted to keep Katie happy, and she was getting mad at me, and I needed her protection. I didn't want her to stop protecting me.
Now, there was a lot of questions about timing, and I want to make sure that everyone has this clear because it's really important. In 2014, did you think Catherine Magbanua was extorting you.
No, not at all.
Now, after she went to trial and testified, and after you saw the evidence of the money that was in her accounts, did you know that you were wrong and in fact she was the person who was extorting you, either with Sigfredo or without him?
Yeah, and that wasn't until 2019, 5 years later.
So when Ms. Kappelman shows you all of those text messages and emails in 2014 that seem friendly,
Mhm.
at that point, and in 2016 that seemed friendly, and all the gifts, at that point in time, what did you think she was?
I thought she was protecting me, and she got dragged into this the way I did.
Now, do you remember when Ms. Kappelman showed you that indictment
Yes.
and it had your name on it and Catherine Magbanua's name on it as co-conspirators?
Yeah.
Do you remember when she directly asked your sister in this courtroom if she participated in a birthday gift for your dad of the murder of Professor Markel?
My
I
God.
remember asking that.
So her
My
name's
God.
not in that indictment, but were you in this courtroom when the first thing in opening the state put on the board was a picture of all of you, because their theory is that all of you participated in this murder, right?
Yeah, they said me, my mom, my dad, my sister.
And their theory is wrong about your sister, correct?
100%.
Just like it's wrong about you.
100%.
Now, Ms. Kappelman asked you about you paying over time as opposed to just paying the money all up front. Why did you pay over time?
The reason I didn't pay it all off is because it became like a life insurance policy. And I felt like every month when I paid, I felt like they weren't going to kill me, because if they killed me, they wouldn't get the money next month.
Ms. Kappelman asked you, does it make sense? Why wouldn't they just rob you? Remember she asked you that question?
Yeah.
Were you in the courtroom? Do you recall when you were in the courtroom? Do you recall Luis Rivera saying he just wanted to rob the lady? Do you recall that?
Yes.
And do you recall he said that Sigfredo Garcia told him that Katie told him, we can't just rob the lady. We have to do a murder.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
You were told in the car that Luis Rivera was the killer. You've learned since that Sigfredo Garcia was the shooter, right?
I learned that he was convicted of shooting Dan. But in 2016, when I was sitting in the car, Katie was telling me that he went up in the rental car and that he was high on drugs, and that it was Luis Rivera, the head of the Latin Kings, that killed Dan.
She was protecting her husband.
Yeah, that's what she was telling me. At the time, I thought she wasn't a part of it, and she was telling me the truth.
Now, Ms. Kappelman asked you about other times that you have called the police since this case began. Well, not since this case began, but since the events of this case. She asked you about a photographer in a car. She asked you about a woman who's the child of the mother of your child when you called the police. In either of those circumstances, was someone threatening your life?
No, not at all.
In either of those circumstances, was someone threatening your family's life?
Not at all.
In either of those circumstances, had within hours before someone been shot in broad daylight in their driveway?
No, not at all.
By the way, you're heard on the wire about at some point your jet ski getting stolen, right?
Yes.
And do you recall what you say on the wire about your jet ski getting stolen?
I said I don't even want to catch the people.
Well, I'll ask it a different way. When your jet ski was stolen, did you call the police?
Wait, you asked him 50 times about him calling the police. What are you, Georgia? Come on, honey. She went through a whole list. Remember? Oh, did you call the police here? Did you call the police there? Did you call the police here? Do y'all remember? Oh, sorry about the laugh in the background, Elizabeth. What one thing that's going on is that I'm working on something else. And so y'all are kind of getting my unfiltered reaction. That was a wow moment. Oh, what's going on, Georgia? Now it's like you're the defense attorney. Why? Where's that coming from? Man, oh man. Man alive. What do you think? What do you think, Elizabeth? I feel so sorry for Dan Markle's mother. My God, every time they show her, my heart is broken. This is so sad. Oh my gosh, Linda, I'm literally on the side of the defense, Linda. I don't know that this has ever happened before. I legit think this guy is innocent. Isn't that sad? I'm talking about, you're looking at Dan Markle's family. So sad feel so sorry for her. So sorry for her. Why do you think it is? Someone help me understand here. Why do you think Georgia doesn't want Dan Charlie Adelson saying, no, I didn't call the cops, or yes, I called the cops? Why? She asked him. Yeah, that's the mother thing one. That is Dan Markle's mother, the guy that was murdered. Oh my gosh, Linda, it's such a big case. Well, yeah, it seems like it, DB, because how many other things did she call out and say, well, you called the cops here?
Yes.
Did you call the police when your jet ski got stolen?
No.
Why not?
Because I didn't want the people who knew where I lived to come back if I put them in prison.
That's why Georgia did not want that to
Now,
be revealed.
Ms. Kappelman asked you several questions about why now are you telling what really happened? Tell the jury why you're now telling what happened.
If I don't tell everyone what happened now, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in prison for something I didn't do.
I have no further
Wow.
questions, Your Honor.
Wow.
Mr. Adelson.
Oh my gosh. I think I
Attorney's
need
gonna
red
approach
velvet
Jones
cake,
with
people. This is so sad. This is so sad. Did y'all hear that? Oh my God, this is so sad. The man has been praying. Oh, I feel so sorry for Dan Markle's family. I feel sorry for the Adelsons. It's just tragic all the way around. There's nothing good, nothing. Oh my God. What do y'all think? I need cheesecake. This case is going to make us all diabetic. I think Katie was forced to get back with Garcia and was mad about it, and that Garcia talked Katie into this. Law enforcement doesn't think the Latin Kings are smart enough to orchestrate this. I disagree. Oh, he's terrified. Yeah, absolutely, Rojo. Man. it's fascinating, right? Let's think, let's kind of evaluate this. This guy was killed nearly 10 years ago. Why did she
Members of
bring
the
the
jury,
case now?
I have news that's going to make you terribly sad. Well, before I give that, Mr. Rauschbaum, do you have any other witnesses you intend to call?
No, Judge, we rest.
Does the state plan to call a rebuttal case at this time?
No, Your Honor.
With both parties having rested their cases, I am going to release you for the afternoon to return on Monday. I know, shocked faces. With that, once again, I'm going to give you the same instruction. Do not discuss the case with each other or anyone else. Do not watch any news coverage. Do not find out any information concerning this matter. Again, this is going to be extremely important in reaching the end of this case. This instruction is being given to you for a very specific reason of not causing a mistrial by taking in information that did not take place in this courtroom. I know everyone before has agreed to abide by this and also related that you understood this instruction, but the reason I keep repeating it is because it's that important. Have a good weekend.
He
We
should
will
have
see you
sequestered
Monday
this
morning
jury.
for closing
I would have
arguments.
totally
Please
sequestered them over
report
the
at
weekend.
8:30.
I would have sequestered them. Ooh, he looks sick. He looks like he's going to faint. I wonder if he's sick.
Everyone can be seated. Oh, no. The donuts, no interest. There's gotta be something good. All right, for the attorneys, we'll go ahead and go into recess now. When we come back from lunch, we will have the charge conference on the jury instructions. The initial draft that's been sent to everyone, both parties have it.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, other than what's already been sent, did either party request additional instructions?
The state has not.
All right, there was one other instruction that came to mind, given all the discussion about intent and context. Within standard instruction 13.1, there's a definition that defines intent. I've previously given it in murder trials as a standalone instruction, which basically would give the jurors a definition of what is intent. In this matter, I would believe it's appropriate. I'll allow you all to raise any objections or concerns about it as we get into the charge conference itself, but I just wanted to make you aware it's part of the edit that I have been working on.
Can you provide the number one last time?
Yes. Standard instruction 13.1. This is the general burglary instruction, but within the definition section of that instruction, intent is defined, and that definition of intent would be what would be given unless either party is objecting to it taking place. Right?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Right. We will reconvene with the charge conference at 1:15.
There you go. They'll be back, DB. What y'all think? How does Georgia look? She looks pretty defeated, doesn't she? Feel really sorry for Dan Markle's mother. To be subjected to this is terrible. Really terrible. All right. Okay, so I had a tragic death in my family and have been trying to stay away from crime for a while. Have been working on your own crime case, which is horrific, still under investigation. I am so sorry, Linda. My goodness. I mean, I don't want to pry it, but I'm sure sorry that you guys are dealing with that. It's horrible. Yeah, that's terrible, Linda. I'm so sorry. Well, all right. So they'll be back at 12, well, at 1, or did they say 1:30? And so that's in what, an hour and a no, that's 2 hours, right? Hour and a half. So I will, oh my God, Linda. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Wow, I'm so sorry. Last month. My goodness. Oh, it's terrible. It's just too much, isn't it, Linda? Just happening to so many things are very difficult right now. It's really so much crime, so much illness. I've seen so many people recently diagnosed with cancer. It's really frightening. Really, really scary what's happening. Well, my prayers for you and your family, Linda, and for your niece's parents. And so sorry. Oh, yeah, just a few weeks out. Absolutely still in shock. So sorry. Was this someone she knew, or was it a stranger? Or maybe they don't know yet who did it. US Union building with her. Wow. I'm so sorry, Linda. So sorry. Well, my prayers are with you and your family. And I know that it's very complicated when you lose someone to murder. It's very complicated. Lived in the building with her ex-husband. Huh. Okay. So did she know him? No, he was in the building with her. So it was just like a guy that got obsessed or something, right? Hi, Marie. Welcome. Oh my goodness, Linda. There were other people that were involved too. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, if you ever get ready to tell your story about what happened to your niece, Linda, just let me know and I'll let you come up on panel and just you can talk about, what it's like to be a family member. Did they arrest the guy or others? Did he admit to doing it, or will there be a trial, or like what's going to happen? It is terrible. So much chaos, Rojo. Yeah. It's pretty humbling, right? It's kind of scary. All right. Well, I've got a few things, some phone calls that I need to make. Get back. They arrested one of them so far. Oh, good. Good. Well, I hope they get the rest of them, Linda. That can help with healing, knowing that they're not all still lurking around out there, right? Absolutely, Linda. Absolutely. Anytime you want to talk about it or just need some support, we're here. I'm sure we could all use a personal visit from a psychologist to get through these uncertain days of uncharted territory. We are. I'll tell you one thing that a lot of people are dealing with that you don't really think about, right? As you go through your daily life. And there are some people, depending on their background and history, they're watching what's happening in Israel and the Ukraine, and they get really nervous and frightened when there's a lot of talk about, oh, it's going to be a nuclear war, we're going to have a nuclear weapon explosion, and they get very frightened about that because they think if someone's talking about it on mainstream media, then it must mean that it's going to happen. And it's very hard for them to recognize, well, no, the threat is part of the political baseball, right? It's kind of a power to talk about your nuclear weapons. That is a kind of a element of pressure. Like North Korea does their little parades where they show off their empty rockets, right? So, but there's a lot of people that are watching the news right now and they're really frightened, really frightened. A lot of older people live by themselves. So yeah, there's a lot of people right now that are hurting just because things are really odd, really strange. We're in a real strange period of time in our lives. We really are. So, but here's the thing. Focus on the things you can control. And the things you cannot control, you just got to turn that over to your higher power. You just have to say, I can't influence the president of the United States to do anything. He's going to do what he's going to do, but I can take my little dog out for a walk. I can take my little dog out for a walk, get some fresh air, get a little bit of sunshine, and that will help me relax and feel better. It's not fruitful to sit around and think about the things you have no control over. It makes it much harder. So make sure you're getting enough sleep. Make sure you're getting some sunshine every day, getting a little bit of exercise, eating healthy, play some video games if that's what you like. Go play mahjong with your friends if that's what you like, or go do photography. But don't sit and fret about, things that we don't have any control over. Doesn't do anything. All right. There you go, Linda. Absolutely. Okay, people, I'm going to take a break. I've got some phone calls to make, and then I will see you back here at 1 o'clock. All right. Thank y'all so much for watching the trial with me. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a good lunch. Bye.